Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the BAM Sports Show. I'm your host, Blake, and I am joined with a full group of motherfuckers this evening. Welcome to Fabulous Fucking Friday. I'm joined tonight with, as always, Ryan,
Sup?
the dude over just north of Cincinnati, Dan,
Hey, how you doing?
and that motherfucker down in Jacksonville, Rick. What up, my guy?
What is going on, fellas?
Hey Dan, do you have kids?
How's it going, everybody?
Do you have any kids, Dan?
Who are you talking? I do. I got one kid. Yeah, she's.
All right. So
Sorry, it sounded like alien interference for the first part of the intro.
Weird.
Like, oh shit, is it going to be like this the whole time? Then it kind of cleared itself up, so I can hear you pretty well.
Danny
yeah,
and I are the only two true motherfuckers.
True motherfuckers. Well, hey, we got a full fucking show for you guys tonight. We got that week
fuck
one of the
Blake's mom wants
NFL. College football week 2 is finally here. Rob decided to not join us, I guess. He's sleeping every time.
Fucking Blake's mom.
Lame.
Every
He has
time.
zero excuse. I'm here. You guys know my work
Yeah.
schedule, but yet I'm
Rick
here.
Rick is here. Rick is on hour 39,000 of being awake. So Rick, we
Just
appreciate
about.
you joining us
Just shy of
always.
24, but I'm here.
Well, boys, we got a full fucking slate tonight. Let's start with last night's game, Bills Rams. I think everybody kind of was heavy on the Rams opening day, Super Bowl champs, but goddamn.
I think
God
I called the
damn.
Bills.
I called the Bills too.
Mhm.
Same. I didn't expect it was going to be like that, though, because, I mean, the Rams have a very respectable defense. I mean, I know they lost some pieces, like Von Miller, obviously playing on the other side, for Buffalo now, but they still had a pretty stout defense. They still have Jalen Ramsey. They still have Aaron Donald. I
Jalen
expected it
Ramsey
to be
is a fraud.
Jalen
Yep.
Ramsey
He's a
got
fraud.
fucking shit on last night.
he got burnt bad. Stephon Diggs was just incredible. But no, I thought it.
close.
Mind you, I didn't get to watch the game live, because I had to go to bed super early for work. But from the highlights that I watched, my gosh, the Bills and that first half seems like it was incredible. The game overall, amazing. That Bills defense looks disgusting. And when you think about like how well they did last night without their top cornerback, Tre'Davious White,
insane.
that defense is going to be nuts this year.
Fucking insane. I mean, you had a fucking 5th round cornerback starting last night. He only had to guard the guy for a split second. 2?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that line.
Before Stafford was on his ass.
When was the last
7
time you
sacks.
saw a team that looked this well tuned on offense and defense on both sides of the ball?
Let
It's
alone
been a-
opening fucking week.
It's been a very long time since I've seen a caliber of a performance week 1 against the defending world champions.
Yeah.
And they lost
And
their offensive coordinator, don't forget.
Yep.
Yeah, Brian Dable, yeah. And I
Jim
will say
Dorsey's
this
new
much.
there. Ooh.
It was nice for a change, especially like, for opening game and whatnot. Like sometimes there's some real stinkers. Like they'll have some pretty okay matchups, but for Thursday night football, usually it's shit teams. Aside from
Is
opening
hands
night, but I feel
down
like
the
this
best
was
Thursday night football game I've
by
ever seen.
It's
far.
not Thursday
And I
night,
think
it's not technically Thursday night football though, because that's
Sunday night crew.
right
or
on
whatever.
Thursday. Right. So it's it's a little different when it's the first, because
play
the
it on
Super Bowl
Thursday.
champion always
I'll
plays
Played
Yeah,
it
they'll-
on Thursday.
Okay,
they'll
yeah.
usually put out some better games, for the Thursday, like, opening game of the season.
Right.
They'll have better games. But I feel like this, regardless, on paper, and it certainly delivered, it was a great matchup, for the kickoff game of the season, if you will. It was great. And like I said, just, again, going off the highlights, but that first half it looks like it was a dogfight, but man, the Bills incredible. I had made my early, for the two top AFC teams were the Chargers and the Bills, and definitely. And man, that's Josh Allen. I don't know what player that was in the Rams. That stiff arm like Derrick Henry vibes, like whenever he just
Josh
pulled out-
Allen stiff arm.
Yeah, it gave me like those type of vibes.
Between the stiff arm and the fucking Stretch Armstrong over Bobby Wagner.
Oh yeah, dude, that was insane.
Like,
Yeah,
Bobby Wagner. Like, we're not talking some rookie, some second year.
This is
Bobby
like
Wagner.
Hey,
like,
I know that guy. Yeah.
first ballot Hall of Famer. In the future, Bobby Wagner.
Hey, you got to give Matt Stafford a good, he had a good tackle. That was pretty solid.
Yeah.
You know what though? Like, part of me, I can't be too mad at Stafford because, again, like, that defense was just playing absolutely lights out. And I know that, there have been reports about Stafford having some issues with his elbow. But man, aside from, I was really kind of baffled.
Like dog shit, dude.
I was really kind of baffled that he only targeted Allen Robinson twice. Which, I mean, Cooper Kupp did his thing. Cooper Kupp is going to do his thing. That guy is the truth. But
you know what we saw from Allen Robinson, dude? We saw it last year in Chicago. The ball snaps, he's walking off the line of scrimmage. Several plays last night where he's walking off the line of scrimmage.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, like, dude, do you even want to play football? Like, what the hell?
He got paid. He doesn't care.
Well, we'll have to see.
Maybe.
I don't know. I feel I don't want to give up on the Rams just yet. Like,
it's
overreaction.
Like,
it's overreaction Friday. Let's be honest.
Right? But you guys remember, like, a few years ago, because the first game of the year, it's always a Super Bowl champion versus like one of the high-ranking other teams. Just so it's a good
last
matchup.
year when it was Tampa Bay versus Dallas.
Yeah. A few years ago, the Patriots went against Kansas City. And Kansas City, I think, just made the playoffs the year before Pat Mahomes. I don't think he started that year, but it was his first year kind of getting his feet wet. They're pretty sure it's going to be good, man, whatever. And then they just stomped on the Patriots opening game. Do you guys remember that? The Patriots went on to, I don't know if they won the Super Bowl again that year, or I remember they were a huge team again. And overreaction Friday, everyone was wondering if the Patriots were dog shit that year.
Is this the end of the dynasty?
Yeah. So I'm not too worried about the Rams. I mean, I would like them to suck. They're in my Hawks division, so it'd be pretty sweet.
I really
with Rick.
think Rick was just ripping the biggest fart in the world. I think Rick was just ripping ass so loud because he muted his mic for like 30 seconds and then came back in to talk.
I just wanted to give him space to speak there. But no, actually, funny story about that. Earlier, my wife order eats. I'm just like laying, basically stomach down onto the bed right there. She comes up to slap my ass or whatever, and right as she does, I let a big old.
Excellent.
It was like deflating a balloon. Oh, she was pissed. It was hilarious.
Poor Bethany.
Yeah.
So just going back to Matthew Stafford being Matthew Stafford, 29 of 41 for 240 yards. His yards per attempt, 5.9, compared to Josh Allen's of 9.6.
But Josh Allen's overrated.
Yeah, Rob.
Rob may not be on the show, but I'm
still
going
to
fucking call him out for it. He may not be on the show, but I'm still going to call him out for it because he was in the chat last night calling all sorts of Josh Allen overrated bullshit.
I won't stand for that slander.
Man, he really spread out the ball too.
He looked good.
I mean, I know Diggs get things, but like everyone got, a couple of catches in that game.
Except for my 13th round tight end.
I was going to say,
I don't want to talk about
except for Knox. I mean, you saw, what was it, Davis caught a couple.
Yeah.
Diggs looked good, but Knox was
Knox is somebody
missing.
that I'm not so much worried about, but concerned, I guess, about because his brother just died.
Yeah.
You know what I
they're
mean?
talking about that. Yep.
It was a shock. It was his younger brother. And
but another thing too is that sometimes, depending on how the game flows go, the tight end's just going to be another O-line.
They didn't need him,
right?
Yeah, no.
They didn't need him. They wanted somebody in to block, and that's what they did.
And and the truth is, that's really what most tight ends do. You only have like a handful of tight ends that are actually acting like wide receivers,
pass catchers.
Your Kelsey, your Andrews, your Kittles. But for the most part, 90% of the game, they're blocking, and every once in a while, it's almost like it's like passing to your running back kind of guy,
Yeah.
Except they don't get any rushing yards. So, if Knox is just in that role now, that's what the offense is going to look like. That might be something to watch out for if you're on fantasy. Yeah.
So 2 questions on the Bills for you guys. One, what's their biggest weakness? Obviously most of us watched the game except for Rick because Rick saw highlights, but
I didn't get to watch all of it because I had softball.
Okay, so based on what you saw, what's Buffalo's weakness right now? Because I have one in my head.
The running back room.
Oh yeah, that's an easy one.
Even then, it didn't look terrible. Moss didn't look good or great.
I'd
say,
when your quarterback is your top rusher, though, that's where I have a problem.
Did he have more rushing yards than Singletary?
Yeah.
Yes.
He had the most
splash plays, but
he had the most rushing yards of any back in the game.
In the NFL, to be exact.
Well, Josh Allen is currently leading the NFL in rushing yards and passing yards.
Yeah. He's your right now dog.
And the Rams are the worst team in football.
And passing touchdowns and rushing touchdowns.
And No, Matthew Stafford's leading in interceptions.
Yeah.
Go figure. New year, same shit.
I wanted to break down too go ahead, Rick, and then I want to break down something for fantasy relevance.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the running backs are kind of a low-hanging fruit, and again, but just looking off of the replays, but I did see Josh Allen, quote unquote, threw an interception for a pass that was intended for, I believe it was Isaiah McKenzie.
Yeah.
But
that was not, like, obviously I like McKenzie's potential, but he's been mostly a special teams guy, so I think that in the long run he'll be fine. I mean, he's an explosive athlete, but if I were to say anything, like maybe some of the younger talent outside of Stephon Diggs, and I know they've got like Jamison Crowder, who's a veteran, but I could see maybe a couple of plays here and there throughout the year, especially early on, kind of like how we saw with Isaiah McKenzie. Just getting those guys polished up and, kind of being used to, having to make tough catches like that.
They like throwing to the running backs there too. So,
who'd be really fucking good in that offense?
Literally anybody at this point.
Well, yes.
It's tailor-made for football players.
Yes.
Because it's a football team.
David Montgomery.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would, but he'd be a lot better on the Bears.
I agree, but I'm just saying. So talking about before you go into your breakdown, Ryan, talking about additions to addiction.
Tell us about your addiction.
To additions to the
Japanese
Bills.
fart porn.
Dude,
yes.
That's probably. I don't even want to know what your fucking browser looks like.
Not me.
Can you guys see that? Oh,
oh shit! Let me.
You guys can see my browser? Oh fuck!
Hey, do you guys remember?
I was trying to line up your head with the Japanese cartoon here.
There was a clip of Ted Cruz on TV once, and he showed his browser to show like something he pulled up on his screen. I think it was on his podcast, and one of the 2 of the tabs of the 18 tabs he had up there were for trans porn.
Oh, geez.
It's 2022. We don't judge. You do.
No,
what you
I don't.
do. But anyways,
I judge if you're an
Still.
asshole to the trans community and you watch trans porn.
So my question for the show, for everybody here,
just
research, watching, is do we feel, because we saw the tweets before the game with OBJ was there. Do we feel Buffalo needs to pay OBJ, and do we feel he needs to be added to the team?
No.
I agree. I agree.
They have enough with Diggs, Davis, and McKenzie.
Yeah, if they can smash
Not to
the
mention
Super
Knox,
Bowl
we can
defenders,
get a look.
Yeah, if they can smash the Super Bowl defenders that bad, I don't think you need to try and fix anything.
No.
I mean,
anything,
three
I
of
think
their wide
they were
receivers.
rolling. The vibe looked good.
All 3 of their top wide receivers caught a touchdown.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they scored 7 touchdowns, so it's going to happen.
Yeah.
If anything, I think that the Rams could definitely, assume, depending on what his health is looking like and how long he's going to be out with this injury, the Rams could definitely use his services again.
Oh, so I don't.
But Matthew Stafford needs more than 0.2 seconds to throw a football.
Yeah, that's the
Like
main
I think
thing.
we're
is
I think we're
Yeah, the
taking a
O-line looked
lot
pretty
away
good.
from like Von Miller going to that line. Like, okay, Von Miller's old, but he looks
Von
fucking
Miller
young.
looks like
He looked
old,
young
young.
last night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a
And he
vintage
made the
Von
rest of
Miller.
that line look great.
Well, that's what happens when you're getting older, and then you have a team that has built up it's the deepest defensive front in football. Like every one of their reserves could be a starter on almost any other team. And so when you're not like Von Miller in Denver was the dude for a lot of years, and then they picked up Bradley Chubb, and that took some pressure off of him. He's lined up last year with Aaron Donald. That's historically one of the greatest defensive tackles in football, or nose tackles. But yeah, Von Miller, I think, is going to be a stud this year.
They had
if you're
they
in
had
the
one-
IDP realm.
They had 1/6 of their season sacks from last year last night.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever they scored last night was 1/6 of their season.
7
1/17
sacks.
of their game this year. Like that's insane. Leslie Frazier is out of his mind right now.
I love it. So
Yeah.
41 attempts for Stafford last night. Just breaking it down, he hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different receivers. Well, he threw a pass to 7 different receivers. Obviously, Allen Robinson only got 2. Brandon Powell got 1. Ben Skowronek got
Probably
6.
right.
That's probably right.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for a good play for tight end, I don't know his availability in leagues, but Tyler Higbee, second most targets in the game at 11 targets, but he only caught 5 balls.
Gotta catch
I don't know
him.
how much I trust that though. Like,
He got the targets though, dude.
Yeah, the target share is
fair,
important.
but like these past couple of years, he's had games like that where he will splash and like get some pretty decent usage in a few games every year. But outside of what year was that? Was that 2018, 2019?
I don't
when
think
he kind of blew up towards the end of the season.
Yeah,
when they were going like.
I don't think he's anything special for tight end.
No.
Honestly, they just released a kid that they drafted late last year that I think would be a stud pass catching tight end. But
I actually, as disappointed as I am, obviously, to be the Dawson Knox owner in like 2 of my leagues.
Same.
I'm actually excited. Like, I still think that he could definitely, especially, in my Blake and Danny's league, I drafted him in the 13th round. So I think he could definitely return on investment there. If
I got auto drafted,
the kid was
Cry.
The kid was insane last year. I think he scored like 9 touchdowns or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if he gets like he's obviously a very good pass catching tight end. If he does end up getting more involved, last night they didn't really need him, but I think that he could maybe be like a diet version of like the 2019 version of Mark Andrews. I'm not saying that he will. I'm just saying that
like
it's
Diet
within the
Aldi
range.
Version.
Sorry?
The Diet Aldi version.
I don't know, man. I think that I'm not saying that he will, but I think that it exists within the range of outcomes for him.
Go ahead, Dan.
Oh, I was gonna say a big philosophy I have, and I've always preached about this in fantasy football, is to get your tight ends as quick as possible. You only got 3, maybe 4 tight ends that aren't gonna just like give you 5 points a game. One game they might give you 12, and then back to 3. For down the road, there's just hit and miss. It's way easier to try and fill that flex position first. But on top of that, though, I think if you have the space in your bench to try and acquire, tight ends that have a potential high ceiling, you want to do that early on. See what you have. And, if, like I said, if like Rick took Knox at 13, that's you're not wasting much of a pick taking some guy like Knox. Like you said, he had 9 touchdowns.
You're probably actually coming out as like you're getting a steal getting him in the 13th.
If he's got another tight end. I mean,
yeah, which
that's
I picked up. I picked up Irv Smith from the Minnesota Vikings off the waiver wire. I think he's kind of a sleeper too.
yeah. I mean,
So, go ahead, Dan.
yeah, just like if you get a tight end on your bench if you can, see if they pan out. If not, it's not really wasting much.
No, a lot of those guys, like a lot of your last few picks, are guys that you want to see what they have, like see what type of immediate involvement that they have. Guys that you would be more than comfortable like dropping in after week 1, week 2.
So in our league, not counting defense or kicker because you always take those late, but I hit Alexander Madison, Christian Watson, Chuba Hubbard. I think all those guys there. I don't believe in Christian McCaffrey's health, so I was surprised to see Chuba there when I picked him up. I was like, all right, I got a potential starter for half the season.
Is there still talk about Madison getting traded, or did that fizzle out?
I
heard they were like, I heard he's on the trading block, but
he's a great running back.
He'll be a number 1 wherever he goes. And
Christian Watson has that high draft capital behind him, and they don't have weapons. They get him working in the route in the mix. You've got a potential wide receiver 2 right there.
Yeah,
Harris Campbell, I'm a huge fan of and have been for a couple of years now. I'm real excited to see him with Matt Ryan. Like those are the kind of players you want to get late.
Yeah.
Also, I picked up Deshaun Watson for the playoff run.
Yeah.
And I'll say this,
DeAndre Hopkins.
On the train of thought with Christian McCaffrey's health, kind of one thing I did find interesting that the Panthers did this offseason was add Deontay Foreman, he played for the Titans last year and filled in very nicely for Derrick Henry. He was like I want to say a 2nd or a 3rd round pick he might have been a 4th. I'm not sure, but he was drafted initially by the Houston Texans, actually was making some noise his rookie year, but then ended up getting hurt and everybody kind of forgot about him. But filled in very, very nicely for Derrick Henry last year. Just looking at the tape, I almost think I like Chuba Hubbard. And I mean, he's free right now. He's on like most people's waiver wire right now. But I like him as a potential sleeper. Yeah, Deontay Foreman. I like him as a potential sleeper if Christian McCaffrey goes down. I think that he might possibly overtake Chuba Hubbard, for that kind of fill-in role. I mean, it'll probably be a committee, but I could easily see him being the leader of that committee, if you will.
Yeah,
I could see that, but I think Chuba filled in pretty well last year, and I think he's definitely clearly the 2 there. But I can see, practices Foreman starts showing out, and I can see it becoming that.
Yeah.
So while we're kind of talking about fantasy, let's kind of transition into the next topic, and let's go into locks and start them and sit-ups for tomorrow or on Sunday. Anybody on your roster or on maybe the opposing team's roster that you're like, please God, just don't go off, or would be considered a lock, anything like that?
I never concern myself with the opposite team's roster. I don't care.
Fair.
As far as do you guys want to go by position?
That might be tough. What do you got for your kicker?
Well, you don't have to go that deep.
Let's go a quarterback, a receiver, a running back, and we'll do a tight end. We'll keep it
quarterback that's not obviously Josh Allen or Mahomes or Herbert.
Okay, so let's say not a non-top tier quarterback. Fair?
Oh, I got one. David Carr. I think he's actually going to have the best year he's had in a while. And I think a lot of people got him at a really low price. If you're what most people do, I'm guilty of this too. I didn't quite go as low as David Carr, but everyone wants to get all their top position guys and then wait till like the 10th round to get your quarterback. And there's, by that time, it's like, there's been years where it's like, oh crap, it's just Baker Mayfield left. What did I do? I missed the big run or whatever. Derek Carr's kind of in that, that tier. but I really think he's going to have maybe not the best year because I think it was his second or third year.
What about
he
for
was his
this
best.
week?
I think he's gonna.
You think
I think he's gonna
against
be good.
the Chargers?
Well, but to Dan's credit,
Divisional round.
the last time that these two teams were on the field against each other, like it was an absolute shootout, and Derek Carr was without Waller, and now he has Waller. Oh, and by the way, he has probably the best wide receiver in football, in Devontae Adams. Now, I think that the AFC West, kind of getting back on the topic of fantasy, like I have tried as best I can to just pick up players from the AFC West because
that's like
every game that they're in
Yeah.
is going to be a shootout. Oh, and by the way, all the AFC West teams play all of the NFC West teams. So they're going to be locked into some major shootouts this year.
Yeah.
So I don't hate that pick, as a sleeper, Derek Carr. You mentioned David Carr earlier, and I was going to kind of jab at you. Oh, he hasn't played since like 2002. His older brother.
David Carr. Oh,
yeah.
Derek Carr. Yeah.
So if we're talking this week,
deep sleeper.
If we want to talk about a sleeper for quarterback, I like Jameis.
I do like
Jameis. Against Atlanta, I like. Honestly, I like Wentz against Jacksonville. He's looked pretty good this offseason, apparently.
You ain't never going to say the guy I'm thinking of, so I'll wait for it.
Justin Fields.
No.
Is it Mariota?
Mitch Trubisky, Davis Mills, Jacoby Brissett.
I don't think Mariota's going to start because everyone thinks.
I've got one.
I'm going for Tua. I think it's Tua this weekend, man.
Ooh, against that. Yeah, that's a dicey one.
I'm looking at
this is the worst that New England defense has been in 3.5 years.
That's fair, but it's still Bill Belichick.
It is Bill Belichick. I agree with you, but I think Tua with those weapons, it's a fucking prove it shit or get off the pot year for him. I like Tua.
Well,
I like Tua.
And to your credit, I mean, the Dolphins always play the Patriots hard. Like even when they've been some years where they've just been absolutely terrible. But they end up showing up in New England, and there was what year was that one play where they just kept
the lateral. Yeah. And Gronkowski was playing defense.
He was lined up at safety.
Yeah. It's like, oh wait, this isn't my position.
So to your credit, the Dolphins have always played the Patriots hard, and now they're loaded with talent. Tua. It's like it's all on Tua at this point.
I'd love the Dolphins to be good.
Nah, I don't care.
Yeah,
I would have loved it. Like I know that there's a lot of allegations out there
anti-Tua.
That there's a lot of allegations out there that Tom Brady was like trying to orchestrate.
Yeah,
him landing there in Miami. I think that would have been fantastic to go up against New England twice a year.
Wow,
better than Tua.
God, get off the Tua hate.
Tua.
I do.
I can't wait to talk shit on Tuesday to you. No, to Ryan. Ryan is anti-Tua anything.
Anti-Tua. I just don't think he's that good.
I don't either. I think he's.
I don't give a shit if he succeeds or doesn't succeed. I just don't think he's that good.
I agree.
So
moving
on.
Go ahead. Yeah.
My quarterback sleeper, and I know you guys are probably not going to be happy with me saying this, but I'm going to say Trey Lance. I think, talking about talent, he's got Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, healthy beginning of the year, right?
Kittle's not playing. Kittle's not playing. Breaking news, Kittle is not playing.
He hasn't practiced the last 3 days. He's got a pretty bad groin strain.
Oh, okay.
Kittle's healthy to start the season on the IR.
Yep.
All right, I messed that up. I'll take that one on the chin. But no, either way, they've still got plenty of playmakers on the offensive side of the football. We had talked in previous episodes that outside of him being a very mobile quarterback, like Trey Lance has an absolute howitzer of an arm, just kind of going back to his college tape and whatnot. So I like Trey, and on paper at least, the Bears defense definitely didn't do much favors for themselves in the offseason.
They drafted. Okay.
Oh, they lost Khalil Mack though. That's a huge.
That's nothing.
Losing Khalil Mack is nothing.
I mean, we don't need him. We don't need him. And then in the new defense,
aren't
the
they
new
ranked like
defensive-
32nd on the power rankings right now?
Who, Bears?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
they're 25th.
My brother commented, that ain't the first thing that Rick took on the chin. That's funny.
Good time.
But no,
I think the better of the two quarterbacks in that game will be Justin Fields.
Well, time will tell. Time will definitely tell.
And I hope he hits him with a Patrick Mahomes finger count, baby.
I like just a pure talent perspective.
Yeah.
Sure
Whose
enough.
power rankings are those?
Yeah. Sorry.
Whose power rankings are those?
The NFL.
Line us up, and I guarantee the Bears whoop Seattle's ass.
Yeah, there's a good chance of that. Actually, that'd be that's a more evenly matched game. That might be fun.
What I was going to say is I like Justin Fields as a talent overall better than Trey Lance, I think. But Trey Lance definitely has the better supporting cast, like by far.
Do we see anything from last year, like Trey Lance actually playing in the NFL to make us think that he's going to be like a star?
I want to say he started like 3 or 4 games, maybe. I don't know. I mean, he beat the shit out of Houston.
No. I don't think he started any games last year.
I don't think he did either.
I know. Yeah, I know.
I still think he's completely.
I thought he did.
No. I know for a fact
Fields
that
was hurt.
I know for a fact that he played against Houston and beat the shit out of them, which I mean that's not saying much, but.
Oh, okay. He was. Let's see. He was 2-3 as a starter. Or no, he was. Like 1-2 as a starter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what does his numbers look like? Because I know, like one of his games, he was
57% completion, 603 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, with a long of 76.
Oh, it's his whole season. I thought that was a game. I'm like, oh my, why do you have
500
yards?
The Houston game, it was 16 of 23, 2 touchdowns and an interception, and he was sacked once.
Okay, that sounds incredibly mediocre, especially going against Houston.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not totally could be awesome, but I feel like everyone.
Well,
I know you're bringing him in as a sleeper, so I don't think you can really be wrong because it was like it was a low high odds.
Like
pick,
I said, we're talking about guys that are outside of that top tier. I think I guess obviously if we're going to go that route, another. I guess kind of supplementary pick that I would have for sleeper would be Kirk Cousins, with what's that guy's
against
name?
That Green Bay
O'Donnell.
Defense?
Yeah, but I mean still I like that offense.
It's a divisional game though.
Yeah, it's a divisional game. I can't remember the guy's first name, but O'Donnell, like the offensive coordinator from the Rams that is now their head coach, that is going to make it a more Kevin O'Connell. That's what it is. Kevin O'Connell. It's going to be a little bit more pass happy, and actually, I'm going to save like my take, but I have another take for that particular game. But it's a divisional game. Yeah, again, no, not Thielen. But Kirk isn't terrible. I mean,
no, I don't think so. I think he'll be fine.
All right, let's go running back.
Real quick, one of the things I want to point out on Trey Lance. All right, I gotta get my licks in. He threw the ball 16.7 times per game in college. So the coaches didn't really trust him then to throw the ball as much. They ran a lot more. He's got 1 season of college ball starting experience at North Dakota State. He also went to North Dakota State, which,
true that.
But everyone's saying the Niners are just going to be at like Super Bowl contender, and I don't see it. I don't see it either.
Yeah, I don't see it either. I don't either.
All right, so I'm ranked over the Rams.
If you look at the 49ers, like beat writers and their, just their writers out there, like a lot of it is like, hey fans, let's temper your expectations for
Oh, really?
Lance. You got to be patient with them. And I just think that I got a deep feeling in my gut that the Bears are going to surprise this year because I've watched them all off season. I've watched so much tape on them. I've seen the change in that team. It's a completely different team, like feel and just overall execution that I think the Bears are going to come out and shock the world. Fucking 32 or whatever. No, I said last show I think they're a 7-9 win team.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
the easiest schedule in football.
To clarify here, I like Trey Lance like for this week because I like the matchup. But yeah, season long, I'm not sure how much I trust him. Maybe if you get him if you're able to get him later in drafts, then okay, you could definitely do worse. But I think I would probably take him over a Derek Carr. I know he has Devontae Adams now, so that will definitely boost his ceiling a bit. But I think that the potential for Trey Lance, given his mobility and his supporting cast as a whole, lends credence, to him being a sleeper. Whereas I think with Derek Carr, he'll definitely get a boost to Devontae Adams, but he's not going to be a world beater. I don't think.
No,
it seems like
but
the running quarterbacks seem like they get one kind of free year, like the first starting year when they're just running all the time, or they're a star, and then after that, it's like they got tape on them, and it's like now we're not letting
you
Kaepernick
start closing
run
those
again.
gaps off more.
Yeah,
you play the line a little different. We got a question in on chat.
Yes, we do.
It's a monster of a trade.
I'm gonna go ahead and
scenario.
throw it on. I'm gonna throw it on screen, because it's a pretty big a trade here. So it says
from Homer.
I just
Simpson
got offered
of
CMC.
Hey, Springfield.
So Christian McCaffrey, Mark Andrews,
CMC,
and
Andrews, and Edmonds for Kamara, Zeke, and Deontay, and HPPR would leave
half
him
PPR.
with Lamar, Saquon, CMC, half PPR. For our people that don't know what HPPR means, I guess. Thanks.
Half PPR.
It would leave me with it would leave me with Lamar, Saquon, CMC, Patterson, Edmonds, Andrews, Godwin, Kirk, Olave, and Boyd. What do you think?
Which Edmonds is that?
Well, Homer, I think
Chase Edmonds, Miami.
I would assume Chase,
Yeah, Chase Edmonds, I would assume.
I would assume this is a trade for the Springfield Isotopes.
No, I don't have any of those players. I don't think.
See, I'm so down on CMC. To me, I feel like that's poison in the well. But I do not trust. I mean, I'm the minority. He's like number 2 on like every draft board you see. I'm.
If he's healthy,
he's like a third rounder.
Billy did not take that just on, getting Mark Andrews alone. You're giving up Zeke, who's on the downturn. Deontay,
Tamika. We don't call it. We don't
Tamika.
call her
Tamika. The hell,
Tamika sounds like a nice.
I don't even know the bitch's name. Okay.
Yeah, she's
anyways.
We're gonna paint this Tamika on the side.
Anyway, back to the trade.
I think that's a good trade to make. You're losing a little bit of that half PPR with trading Kamara, but again, if Christian McCaffrey's healthy, like that dude's going to be the number 1. I just don't think he'll be healthy. I think you make that trade though. Your team is better. I think Chase Edmonds is going to be surprised this year. I think he's going to rack up over 1,000 yards, all purpose. Christian McCaffrey, again, healthy. If he's healthy, fucking hell yeah. Kamara's good, but it seems like he's on a bit of a downturn. I feel like he's lost a step. Zeke is Zeke. Deontay is Deontay. I mean, you're still... And at that point, too, you can maybe leverage one of those running backs to beef up your wide receivers as well.
Yeah. So my thing is, I'm looking at it for every one of the assets in here. So we've got CMC, Mark Andrews, and Chase Edmonds.
Mhm.
I think that, yes. So if Christian McCaffrey stays healthy, which is a huge if, although I will say in regards to that, I have read a lot of reports from sports doctors, and things of that nature that say that, yes, like while Christian McCaffrey has had a slew of super unfortunate injuries, none of them have been like mutually exclusive. That is to say, like he didn't re-injure something. He just happened to have this super shitty luck and get injured, to another ligament or another part of his body or whatever. So all of that to say, if Christian McCaffrey is healthy, again, big if, but if Christian McCaffrey is healthy, you have one of, if not the singular strongest fantasy asset. I mean, you look at now this is, forever ago, but week 1 last year, and I don't know if this is the same for half PPR, but I know full PPR, he was the number 1 running back on the week, didn't even score a touchdown. So you've got just absolute gold with him every time he's on the field. It's just a matter of when he's on the field. But outside of him, I mean, you're trading away. So you look at those are your 2 top assets, in the trade, the CMC and Alvin Kamara. Kamara is obviously going to be the safer of the 2 players that you're giving away. You get the higher ceiling with CMC. Then we look at Tamika Elliott, as I call her, because she looks like a whore. And yeah, Tamika and Deontay Johnson. I'm honestly not high on Zeke. And I think that the fade on him, I kind of agree with it. I think that he's lost a huge step. I think that by season's end, it wouldn't be crazy to me if Pollard ended up, kind of being the alpha in that backfield.
Right. I agree.
Agreed.
So, and then Deontay Johnson, I love him. I had him last year in our league. He was a PPR monster. But it's going to remain to be seen, what he looks like not catching passes from Big Ben and kind of having some shaky quarterback play between Trubisky and
that's MVP Mitchell Trubisky.
Nickelodeon valuable player.
Can you pull that trade back out one more time?
So
yeah,
I'm not as high on either of those guys, but you get one of, if not the singular highest tight end, like the best fantasy football. I actually have Mark Andrews as my number 1 fantasy tight end this year.
Yep, me too.
So, and that's it. We had talked earlier about having that positional advantage at tight end. And if he's not your number 1, he's your number 2. So either way you have.
Yeah, I'm kind of fading Andrews a little bit, and I've been a very big fan of him since he was drafted. But they do have that Isaiah Likely, who has been balling out all preseason. And so I think maybe he loses some targets to Likely.
Maybe, but I don't know. Like, he's still probably their best player outside of Lamar Jackson.
Oh, he is.
Field. And they have the chemistry. The chemistry has been there the entire time they've been together. So regardless, you're getting a top shelf tight end. Positional advantage is huge in fantasy football. And then, I agree with Ryan with regards to Chase Edmonds. I really like him in this scheme that, going over there. The only running back really behind him, Raheem Mostert, much like Christian McCaffrey, can't seem to stay healthy. And a lot of his injuries are exclusive.
Yeah.
Plus, he's old now. And, I mean, other than the fact blazing, I mean, he's still just insanely fast. But I don't know if I trust the guy to stay healthy all season. And I don't think that new regime really wants much to do with Myles Gaskin or Salvon Ahmed. So I think
one of those guys got dropped anyways.
Sony Michel did.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he got cut.
Yeah. So I like Chase Edmonds a lot.
You picked up Chase Edmonds, though, didn't you?
Who?
Yep. I did. I
Didn't you
picked him
grab
up
him in a
as
league?
like my RB. Like I think he was like I picked him up late because I went Joe Mixon with my first pick, and then I think it was who did I pick? I don't even remember. I got to look at my roster. I
I've
picked
got
up
Chase in the listener league.
I got Debo. I like bolstered up my wide receiver core after I picked up Joe Mixon. So I got Debo Samuel, Mike Williams, and Cortland Sutton. And then I guess that would have been my 5th or 6th round. I think either my 5th or 6th round pick. I picked up Chase Edmonds. So I like Chase Edmonds a lot. You have my blessing if you want to make that trade.
I'm going to give my blessing.
I think that's a good one.
I'm going to give my blessing too. The biggest reason is that he has Barkley on there too. So between him and CMC, if just one of them actually has a decent year, he's solid.
Yeah.
And he gets Andrews out of it. So I think Andrews is the bigger piece of the trade than CMC. That's just me personally. So I vote for make the trade. Anyone else
Ooh, y'all.
make the trade.
All in favor, say aye.
Y'all.
Aye.
Not.
Aye.
I don't know that I pull the trigger on this.
Oh.
What?
But I don't know that I trust CMC and Saquon to stay healthy. So I'm looking at.
We need one of them to stay healthy.
Yeah, I don't trust either of them to stay healthy.
Okay.
At the end of the day, you have to look at. Yeah,
but the risk of that compared to Kamara and Zeke.
Which
Kamara and Zeke, I
think, stay healthy.
Yeah, they're going to stay healthy. But
I think they're not going to come out. I don't think it's a matter of health. I think it's a matter of taking.
Are you comfortable with Patterson and
now?
Edmonds? Well, I guess at the end of the day, do you feel comfortable with Patterson and Edmonds being your starting running backs? If yes, then pull the trigger on the trade. I think Lamar is a great connection.
CNC and Saquon versus Kamara and Zeke. I think both of those guys are more likely to have like a downturn this year. And it's always this kind of age group where they start to not perform anymore. 29. It just like Adrian Peterson kind of did the same thing. You just like every running back except for Frank Gore is a 26.
Well, it's because Frank Gore's
27. Or excuse me, 27. They just kind of that's about it. They just shut down, and that's the year, Zeke didn't have a great year last year. I mean, he was startable, but
he's RB3.
I don't see him having a better year this year than he had last year. I think it's just going to be a continual downslope.
Agreed.
So
another thing that I wanted to point out is I noticed.
Go ahead.
I noticed that he said that would leave him with Chris Godwin, Christian Kirk, and Chris Olave.
Mm-hmm.
So he already has, and Tyler Boyd. So, but I wanted to highlight Chris Olave here. So he already has Alvin Kamara on his roster. Save for this would be one of those situations I guess I'd be okay with, because it's not like he has like Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas, where he had to probably pay up a little bit for Michael Thomas. But I'm generally not huge on stacking running backs and wide receivers from the same team. Again,
I'm with
probably
you.
Didn't pay as much for Chris Olave, so this wouldn't be too bad. But yeah, that would be another reason I'd be okay with the trade, because I'm getting, again, like you're making a bet on health. But if at least one, or certainly both, of Christian McCaffrey and Saquon stay healthy and return to anything of that form that made them superstars once upon a time, then that's a juggernaut team.
There's a lot of risk in that trade, but I think that the risk outweighs, or the reward outweighs the risk in that.
I agree.
Fair. I don't disagree.
Your ceiling if you don't make the trade is nowhere as high, but your floor is decidedly you definitely have a chance to be quite a bit lower.
And it's going to be a lot easier to try and fill up that running back spot if something doesn't go right than it is to fill that tight end spot.
Right. Yeah. I'd say if you make that trade, make a space on your bench for either Mark Ingram or preferably Chuba Hubbard.
Mm-hmm.
Shore it
fair.
up.
That's fair.
You know what I mean?
All right. So we got 2 more questions before we get into the Survivor League. So Breece Hall, thoughts there?
So that is my that's my brother. Hi, Shannon. Yeah. So rookie running back from the Jets, Breece Hall. I like Breece Hall a lot, although I don't know, like watching him in the preseason. Maybe I'm, kind of alone in this, but I was a little bit let down. I don't know that I saw like I was really wowed by him in the preseason. I think at least early on, if we're talking for fantasy football purposes, I think maybe as your RB3, he's probably fine. But early on, I don't know that I trust him as like my running back 2 or anything like that because he's going to be like Michael
Correct.
Carter
Michael Carter's
not
the starter.
a bad. Yeah, and
He
Carter
is the starter.
Carter's not a bad running back.
No,
he's not a bad running back at all. And it's the Jets. I don't trust the Jets. I don't. Joe Flacco is, kind of filling in for Zach Wilson right now. Joe Flacco is
I'm rooting for Flacco.
Washed.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson sucked last year. So I mean, maybe if he could almost maybe take over almost like a diet David Montgomery type thing where eventually he ends up being the alpha in that backfield and then he just gets fantasy points based off of pure volume alone. I could see that. But yeah, I think he's a better NFL prospect this year than he is a fantasy football prospect.
If you're playing Dynasty, scoop him up.
Oh, 100%.
Yes. Yeah.
He's the 1-1 in every Dynasty draft that I've been in this year. But if we're talking week 1, no. Put him on your bench. Let him chill. If you're talking first quarter of the season, ride the bench. But if you're looking at the end of their schedule, playoff time, yeah, maybe I start running them out there. Let's see. Usually your week 15, week 16, week 17, they're playing Detroit, Jacksonville, and then in Seattle week 17. I think that is
this streaming service is so much better than what we were using. I can hear HBO Max running in the living room.
That's awesome. And
nice.
to your, you had mentioned the first few season that you did not draft Breece. You could possibly look of a buy opportunity after the weeks of the season. Mid to lower tier wide receiver, or even another running back that popped off during the first few weeks, but that you don't have a ton of faith in, like season long. Kind of get a buy low offer in on Breece Hall.
If you got 2 or 3 weeks into the season.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the next one because we got to get into the Survivor League stuff real quick, and this is going to be a little bit of a doozy. With Hill, Pittman, Davis, Thomas, Boyd, Smith, and Stafford as your quarterback, would you trade Pittman, Davis, and Stafford for Burrow and Hollywood Brown?
Yes.
So let's look at this. Yeah, I think
that's not a
immediately
doozy.
just looking at this. Yeah, I think yes, you do that immediately. We
Stafford,
all saw Stafford last night, so you'd end up with
Stafford
Burrow,
will end up being
Hollywood.
good, but I think that you're going to start Hill, you're going to start Thomas, and you're going to start Marquis Brown or Devontae Smith. Okay,
Devonta.
Let me make sure I'm reading this correctly. So with Tyreek Hill, Michael Pittman, Gabe Davis, Michael Thomas, Tyler Boyd, and Devonta Smith, and Stafford as your quarterback, would you trade Michael Pittman, Gabe Davis, and Stafford for Joe Burrow and Marquise Brown? I don't know. I mean, I think I'm a little bit lower on Marquise Brown because I say that. Like, I ended up drafting him as my wide receiver 1 in my 16-team league.
He's the number 1 there. Rondell Moore's hurt
right now.
Now. Hop
like first 6 weeks of the season. Yes. But obviously I like Burrow more. I mean, he's got a murderer's row worth of receivers, to be able to throw to. But I don't know. I really like Michael Pittman and Gabe Davis this year.
I do too.
Season long, I'm higher on either of them. I'm higher season long on either of them individually. Well, I don't know. I think that I'm as high, if not marginally higher, on Pittman than I am Marquis Brown.
Right now for this week, I'm looking at tiers. Pittman is currently a tier 2 wide receiver, which is really good. Marquise Brown is a tier 4. Same with Davis. But if you go into the quarterback rankings, and again, this is just week 1, Stafford is a tier 4 guy. Burrow's a tier 3. And I kind of feel like that's how it is. I think Burrow's probably a tier 2 quarterback season long, and I think Stafford is potentially a tier 3. I think it's an upgrade.
I think it's too early. I think it's too early to call that on Stafford. I know.
No, I mean I agree. It's he threw for almost 5,000 fucking yards last year.
Yeah, his first game of the year, against the best defense.
Cooper Kupp ran for 3,500 of them.
That's true.
Right. Fine, but he's still gonna have Cooper Kupp every week unless he gets injured. I really think Stafford and Burrow are gonna finish out in very similar numbers, comparable numbers.
Here's my thought on it. When I look at a trade, I think about future value too, because I play a lot of dynasty. A lot of dynasty. This is most likely not a dynasty situation, but I look at Marquise Brown for the first 6 weeks of the season is going to have that rapport with Kyler Murray. He's going to build and he's going to be fed. He's going to get targets. Why not start your first 4-5 weeks of the season off with a bang? Now you've got, a top dude. And then right around, Call of Duty time, you trade him right around the time Hopkins comes back.
I was going to say kind of in
spin
reverse.
him off for something else.
Kind of in reverse what we had talked about with
it's going to be hard to trade him when Hopkins comes back, though. I mean, his value is
That's why you do it week 4, week 5, before he comes back.
Yeah.
And I still think, I think that he's got 6 weeks to build that rapport and show that, like, hey, this is who you traded for. Like, I think even with Hopkins coming back, I think now you've got Brown 1, Hopkins 2.
Weren't they college teammates?
They were.
Who?
Kyler and
Hollywood
Marquise Brown
and Kyler. They were college teammates. So it's not like when D-Hop comes back that Hollywood Brown just going to disappear. Like, they were college teammates at Texas Tech. Or no, Oklahoma.
OU.
Sorry, Oklahoma, not Texas Tech. I'm thinking of Mahomes. But yes, I think that like the repertoire is already there, or like they know each other. It's just going to get better over the next 6 weeks. Really, I think that's
12 games.
I take that trade.
In 2018 at Oklahoma, 75 receptions, 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns. Like,
I think I like it. Like,
and you're
with the mindset of
Cliff planning it. You've got Kyler throwing it again.
I like it. I mean, you're right.
Trade him
he's not
before
going
Call of Duty comes out.
He's not going to fall off the earth, but like certainly, I think with D-Hop there, even if Kyler is still the one, I think obviously that ceiling comes down a little bit. But I like it if for nothing else, you could kind of take one of two avenues with it. Like you said, kind of a reverse of what we were talking about with Breece Hall. Where you're buying low a couple weeks into the season to get him. In reverse, you might, if you time it right, and maybe there's, everybody always has at least one league mate that's not super tuned in to everything going on, and they're just looking at, oh well, this player, he's been killing it, for these past few weeks or whatever. I'll take that trade, and sell high for Marquise Brown. And if you don't, then great. You have, if nothing else, a solid wide receiver, a fantasy wide receiver, low end wide receiver 2, low end wide receiver 1, high end wide receiver 2.
Can you pull up the question one more time?
While you're pulling that up, Marquis Brown loved playing for the Baltimore Ravens. What they stood for as an organization, that's what Brown stands for. He wasn't angry with his former team, but he felt he needed to play elsewhere. He said, it's about happiness. I want to feel like I'm a part of something to win. At the Ravens, I just felt like sometimes they didn't really need me. Regardless if I was there or not, they were going to win games. I love the game too much. I want to be involved. He's playing with his best friend, his old quarterback. He's playing for his old coach. Like, I think this is going to be a hell of a year.
Take this trade, Matt.
Do
this trade.
Do it.
Dan, what were you going to say about that?
I mean, I'm not really against the trade in general principle. I'm not. Oh, goodbye, Rick. I'm not a really big fan. We'll find him. In principle, I'm not a really big fan of these just giant, like 5 players involved trades. It's just, I think it just overcomplicates things. The fact that he wants Davis, I think is kind of nice. I like him. I think it's always, I don't know if he's going to be a huge star, like he's, just going to be the man. They get a really great week, but they spread the ball out so much. I could see him really being one of those guys that just bounces back. We'll have,
see if you can switch out Davis for Smith.
No, I think I think it's, I'm going to say, I'd be curious if maybe you can keep Pittman in that trade.
If there's one guy I want to keep, it's going to be Pittman. But I think if you could swap out Davis for Devontae Smith or Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, I think you should be able to
100% pull that trigger.
Yeah, I think, make an offer, like make a counter offer. I mean, you can always just reject it and go back to the other offer. Just make sure you do it before the week's over. Before you see, people start having second guesses of what they have. That's my advice. In general, like I said, I don't like giant 2-for-3 or 3-for-3 trades. In general, I don't mind it. I think Burrow has a higher floor than Stafford, but all in all, I still think they're going to be pretty equal. I think, like I said, I think Davis is overrated, but time will tell.
Yeah, I still like the trade, though. I think it's a pretty safe trade. So if it's me, Matt, I'm making that trade.
Man,
so let's move in. I know
these questions.
Rick's having some. I do. It's fun. Rick's having some technical difficulties down there in Jacksonville, so we'll let him try to work on his stuff while we kind of move on. Let's move on to Survivor League picks. I know, Dan, this was something you kind of put together for us.
Yeah.
We're excited. So, Dan, kind of explain. I think we all kind of know what it is, but explain to the people out there watching. What is it?
Yeah, I think this is a really fun little thing you can do on the side of your fantasy football league. It's really not that complicated. You can get as many people as you want. It's a really simple game. Yahoo's, I'm sure there's a lot of platforms that do it. Yahoo's the only one that's popular place I've seen them do it. How it works is each week, each person playing. Oh, Rick's back. Yay. Well, talk about Survivor League. Hey, buddy. So
Internet took a dump.
Yeah. Or you did. Secret.
Secret pooping.
I got to do.
I was going to say, Blake actually took off to
that was poop. Me on Tuesday.
All right. Oh. Wow.
We're good.
Another quick news.
Keep going.
Okay, so each person playing in the Survivor League picks one team, NFL team, to win that week. You can pick it in. Everyone can pick the same team if they want to. It's fine. It doubles up all the time. But the caveat is once you pick that team, like if you picked the Bears this week to win, and the next week you can't pick them anymore. They're done for the rest of the week. If you pick a team and that team loses, then you're out for the rest of the league or rest of the year. It's done. So it's a Survivor thing. You got to get a perfect score all the way until you're the last player standing. So for instance,
1.95% of people picked the Rams. in their
Yeah.
Survivor League. So those
they are
people
out, bitches.
are out for the rest of the year. 3.1% picked the Bills.
Mm-hmm. You're right. And
so, Ryan, who was your team?
Yeah.
Who's my team?
Yeah, who's your lock?
Don't fucking worry about that.
Tell us.
That's what we're doing.
Tell
I'm
us.
going to tell. Yeah, that's
Denver.
what we're here.
That's why I got Denver.
Denver. Oh,
yeah.
Feelings.
That's a fair one.
Oh God, yeah.
Lose Rick again?
It's the hurricane sucking all the internet.
Yeah, that's a Taco Bell.
So you said Denver. I think Denver. I mean,
Denver.
No offense to Seattle. I think just Rush is that's just too much, right? Like, and Denver's good.
Yeah.
So
I want to get that one out of the way. I think there's lots of other games out there. I'm just trying to think of surviving.
Yeah, and I want to give a little hint. Even I'm going against everyone's watching. We're all going against each other, so I'm kind of showing my cards a little bit here. When you're in a Survivor League, everyone always thinks like, "Oh, I'm going to be really smart. I'm going to wait a little bit to down the road to pick the Bills or whatever great team that's out there, and that way I have them saved like towards the end of the thing, so I have a little more guaranteed on the path to victory." And then they pick someone who's like mostly a safe pick that always screws up. And then like 90% of everyone is out on like week 3 or something stupid
I can't
like
wait
that.
for that to happen.
So yeah, because you don't know, like the beginning of last year,
okay, Dan.
no one thought. Okay. Who? All right. So I'm picking Tennessee right now.
Tell us who you're going with, baby. Tennessee.
Going Tennessee. Yeah. Going against the Giants. I think that's probably, I thought that was the safest pick that was there. And I say the first couple of weeks, take the safest pick, and then you'll kind of the sample size will be over, and you can kind of see which teams are actually good for real, and which ones like maybe the Rams are absolute dog shit.
I'm jumping on with you. I'm doing the Titans. I switched.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Come with me. Hey, no, I'm leaving my card.
We can all do that.
I mean, the way it's set up, it's like no one can see everyone else's. Wait, all right. You're just gonna follow me with my picks?
No, that's Ryan, not me.
That's my strategy.
Come with me, Ryan. I'll lead you to victory.
Hell yeah, let's go.
All right, Rick. Rick, who's your pick?
I'm gonna take the Colts going up against the Houston Texans.
Easy win.
Shaquille Leonard is out, right?
Okay.
0% of people have picked the Texans.
Oh.
0%.
See, to me, that's not even safe enough. This early.
So did you? I think you guys are picking. Good.
No, I'm just saying. I feel like that's as much of a slam dunk as anything.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yes. So when I was looking at it, I looked at teams that I thought wouldn't be very good. So for week 1, I picked the Ravens because they're playing the Jets. So you got who? Joe Flacco, the Jets.
Oh,
you got Joe Flacco. You got Lamar. The kind of contracts are done talking about it. So I feel like that was pretty safe.
All right.
I think
we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out on Tuesday.
Yeah, we're gonna have half the league wiped out with the Giants coming in just being a powerhouse.
I was gonna say Dan and I are done for the season.
Yeah. If Brian DeVoe could do that, it'd be awesome.
That'd be hilarious.
Cool.
So we got a couple of minutes here. Any big games we're looking forward to for the weekend?
All
college or pro? Yeah. I mean, I plan on watching all of them.
I think that the Cleveland Browns against the Carolina Panthers is must-watch television.
Yeah, that's because they're pretty evenly matched too. It's not like Denver and Seattle where it's like we're all assuming an ass kicking, but maybe miracles could happen. Everyone, but
we'll see. I don't know.
It seems like Carolina and Browns. That seems like a good. It seems like a somewhat even matchup. I would say.
Yeah.
Week 1's always tricky too.
It's tough, man.
There's a lot of shit that happens that you just don't see happening.
Yeah, like no one realized.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say no one knew that like the Bengals were gonna be a powerhouse of the world. They thought like, we might be a 8-8 team or 8-9 or whatever. It is now. And
I
then,
think that Myles Garrett is going to absolutely have his way with Baker Mayfield.
No.
That was, I don't remember who it was, but someone was like, when you think about that game, it's like everyone thinks about Baker versus the Browns or Baker versus Brissett, but it's Baker versus that defense.
Yeah.
And Brissett versus, and the Panthers defense. And the more I think about it, the more I think the Browns are going to win that game, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I don't know.
all right, guys.
I just think
Go
it's
ahead.
going to be a blowout. No, you're
yeah,
good.
I'm excited. We got fucking football, man. We had football on Thursday. We had football on Friday. We had football on Saturday. We had football on Sunday. We had football on Monday. Then we got 2 days of bullshit. Then we're back to it.
And honestly, I'd mentioned this in the chat, but really, from now on, literally every season is football season. Because after the NFL's done, the XFL is coming in, and I have every reason to believe that the XFL will just absolutely kill it, especially given the partnership that they have with the NFL now. And then that's a good little holdover into college football. A couple weeks into the college football season, comes the NFL season back again. And then, of course, if you're really feeling antsy, you could watch the CFL. There's,
baby.
So, and then I think actually tomorrow, and I looked this up just, while we were on this same train of thought in the chat, but the X League has their championship tomorrow. Now, if you don't know the X League, it's probably because you know them by a different name. They are formerly the Lingerie Football League.
Yes.
And so they have their championship tomorrow. I thought, wouldn't
Danny,
it be hilarious?
Fuck. What were you saying, Rick?
I was going to say, wouldn't it be hilarious if they had like a lingerie football league, but like guys with dad bods? I mean, it would be disgusting, but I think it would be hilarious.
Oh, yeah,
I would prefer a lingerie football league with like flags, but the flags were actually their bras.
Yeah.
Hear me out. That's a
bra
Vince McMahon
snapping's a
football
penalty.
Holy cow.
5-yard penalty.
Dabo and Clemson agreed to a 10-year, $115 million deal.
You know what that means?
He's got a lot of money now.
It means Nick Saban's getting another new contract.
Jesus.
Because he has it in his contract that if another coach passes him, he gets a new contract.
Oh shit.
Jeez.
That's crazy.
Who negotiated that, man?
So this is now the second new contract he'll get this year.
Damn.
Because Kirby Smart got paid, and then they're like, all right, well, we're going to pay you. And now Debo's getting paid, so they're like, all right, well, we're going to pay you.
Alabama and Texas. That should be a fun one.
It's going to be an ass whooping.
You think?
Yeah. Remember, we talked about this the other day.
I know.
We talked about this the other day.
You got any college games you guys are looking forward to? Alabama beats
Texas by 30.
We'll see.
And then don't forget, guys, we did roll this out on Tuesday. This will be good through tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. We are rolling out the BAM Sports Fam. If you punch that in on the merch and you're going to order a t-shirt, save 25% on your order. Just use that code right there, BAM Sports Fam. That'll be good until 10 a.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow. Save yourself some money, guys.
The over-under on that game is 64
Do we have
and a half.
Do we have the link for the merch store?
Yep, it's in the description on the video below. Just scroll down a little bit, guys. Click right there. Pick out your favorite shirt. Pick out your size. Pick out your color. Use that code. Dope. And don't forget, all of our socials are down there, so you can follow us, except for Twitterless Rick and Twitterless Dan.
Social securities.
I'm on Instagram as Rick.Stagram.
I like it. That's also a good name.
He's also the red dot on your map if you guys pull up that safety map.
Yes.
We call him Rudolph. So, all right, guys. Well, we got a great fucking weekend planned for some football. I'm excited. I'm pumped.
We'll play some
I
golf
cannot wait for
tomorrow.
Tuesday. Are you playing golf?
I'm playing golf tomorrow at the most exclusive country club in Springfield.
Cool.
I'm fucking
It's like a Jordan
nervous.
plant.
No,
You
it's
got your
like
cigar
a, it's
ready?
like a, no. I got a blunt ready.
What you need?
The most
You got it. Okay, well.
golf down the straits of the River de Pear
Yes.
for all of our St. Louis folks.
Oh shit. All right, guys. Well, shit. As always, we appreciate you so much, guys. If you're watching, please make sure you hit the subscribe and like button. Be a friend. Tell a friend. We will see you guys back on Tuesday, and we will see you next week, guys. I'll see you.
All right.
Peace out, y'all.
Bye bye.